Hey everyone, this is Beth Schaefer from Wisconsin Agriculture in the Classroom, and today we're going to talk about the Wisconsin Year in Review County Ag in the Classroom reports. Let's start with where to find them. We are going to head to the WFBF.com webpage. We're going to click on Programs and find Ag in the Classroom Resources for County Leaders. So I just held my mouse over Ag in the Classroom and clicked on that pop up for Resources for County Leaders. This page has all kinds of information, including a copy of the monthly update sent to all volunteers and coordinators. And it has links to some volunteer assets, but we're going to focus on the Submit the 2024-2025 report. Now, the Ag in the Classroom Year in Review report is due November 15th of 2025. Due to some physical and some computer viruses, we moved that date back from the original date of October 31st. So thank you for your grace as we've gotten this information out, but really struggled with some technical things. So really, truly thank you for your patience. We are looking for your outreach and information that occurred from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th of 2025. Again, the due date is November 15th. And we're going to take that information, that outreach, the number of students, buildings, all the volunteer hours. We use that information. One, some county farm bureaus require it for their tax returns. So that list is growing each year. So that's really important to share. Two, we share it with the Department of Ag, Trade and Consumer Protection, as well as the National Agriculture in the Classroom organization to show our total overall reach and scope. And then the third thing is we share it with the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Foundation, who is our benefactor for many of these programs and help offset a lot of the costs associated with getting things out to counties and teachers for free or reduced costs, including the bulk book order program. So the information, if you have any questions, you can feel free to call me at my office number, 608-828-5644, or email me at bschaefer@wfbf.com. We really appreciate the time that you take to complete this information. So as an honorarium for your work and your time, we are offering counties who submit this by November 15th a $125 gift card to Key Apparel. It is the online site where you can order branded agriculture in the classroom items. I should clarify, Wisconsin Agriculture in the Classroom branded items. And you can use that as incentives for students, teachers, or you can share it with your committee so that you can rock the Agriculture in the Classroom brand. So to get started, you're going to enter your basic county information. So select your county that you're from. It's a drop-down menu. Hopefully that helps alleviate some confusion. Also enter the first and last name of your Agriculture in the Classroom coordinator or chair or lead volunteer. Please include an email, and if your chair or coordinator does not have an email, just put none@none.com. Our forms have these little red asterisks. If you see that red asterisk, that means it is required. So even if you don't have anything to enter, you need to enter a 0. You need to enter a fake email, whatever it might be. Also, add in phone numbers. Be sure to include the area code. You don't have to add parentheses. You don't need to add dashes. It can just be the numbers typed in. So it's pretty basic. And include the number of years that current chair has served. And that helps us figure out who is serving where, for how long. And we want to be able to honor that leadership and that volunteerism. So we really appreciate that information as we go through this year's report. So the meat and potatoes of the report are the program activities and the reach. The first question is about the activities that your county hosted or participated in this year, and check all that apply. So we came up with kind of the top 10-ish activities that most Ag in the Classroom county organizations are presenting or doing. And if you don't see yours, just click the other box and type it in. And then the second question is asking the number of schools served. So think about schools as the building, not the district. So if you're working with a district that has a middle school and two elementaries and you presented or worked with all three, you worked with three schools. So be sure to think about the number of buildings, not districts. And that will also clarify any questions around private schools, and treat a homeschool group. If you work with homeschool groups, treat them as a building. All right. So the next question is about student outreach and impact. And this is actually generated from the question above. So if you unchecked all of these boxes and left it blank, there wouldn't be any questions, right? So the next question is really about those in-person events. So if you click any of these boxes, this form will populate, and it is a question about in-person programs for students. And we're looking for the number of students, the grade level, and how long you volunteered or work with those students. And you're going to see this template, this form in a couple of places as you fill out. And we're trying to capture a lot of information in a very concise way. So we're trying to capture the grade level, which elementary is kindergarten or 4K through fifth grade. Middle school looks like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. High school is grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then the other columns include a length of time. So we're looking for how long you worked with a student, the grade level, and then what you actually enter into the box is just a number. And it's the number of students that you presented to or worked with. And think about this again collectively. So if you had a day on the farm event and you had 500 students, but the event was 8 hours long and you had 500 students rotate through in 2 hour shifts. You wouldn't write down that the 500 for 5 hours. You would write down 500 students for 2 hours because you saw each group of students for 2 hours. If you had students who were presenting, say high school students, and they were at the same event, and you had 10 FFA members who helped present, then you would write down 10 under high school for 4 hours because they were there for the entire 4 hours, not just a portion. If you find any of this confusing, please call or email me. We're just looking for, again, collective. So this is a total of everything through the year. And these numbers might look different depending how many classrooms you went to or worked with and any events or activities you did. Another example, just because it's a great example, let's say you had an ag adventure tent at your county fair or a booth at your county fair. That one's a little harder to track because we don't necessarily know how many elementary students we had or how many high school students we had. Your best guess, if your ag adventure tent was 8 hours long every single day, we're not going to write down that students were there for 8 hours. We're going to think about maybe their average time was probably less than 30 minutes or somewhere in that half hour to 2 hour mark. And you can just put your best guess. If you had handouts, if you made ice cream, if you did anything, and just a ballpark idea of how many students came through, you can add those numbers in. So let's say there were 150 students that you saw at an ag adventure tent. So you just write that down for 150, less than 30 minutes. Now, if that's all of your information, be sure to fill in each of these open columns with zeros. It's going to make the program work a lot smoother and hopefully get you through it a little bit easier when it comes time to submit at the end. The next couple of questions revolve around virtual student. So if you did anything where you zoomed in with the class or you did a Google Hangout or you did a virtual farm tour, again, click yes, and you'll enter your numbers. Again, the same format, elementary, middle, high school, and then find that length of time that you worked with those students and type the number of students in. So maybe you did a book reading for National Ag Day with 20 elementary students. So you'd write 20 in under elementary, and that took you less than 30 minutes. Again, we're going to add the zeros into all of the columns so that the form will let us submit. I'm sorry, it is a bit of an inconvenience, but it's how the form is built. So we're going to just go with it. The next section is teacher engagement. So if you did any in-person teacher trainings, like you had a meeting during an in-service to talk about the essay contest or the book of the year, or you invited teachers to a training after school at a farm, that's where you can report that information. So if you say yes, again, same layout: elementary, middle, high school, the length of time, and then you write the number of teachers. So if you met with 15 teachers to talk about the book of the year, you write that down for the amount of time, and again, put in zeros. If you didn't meet with teachers or didn't do any trainings, that's okay. Click no, and you don't have to worry about this part. All right, so the next questions are about in-person pre-service teachers, in-person virtual teachers. This is all related to pre-service teachers or college students. So if you didn't work with college students, click no, and you can skip that section. If you didn't do any virtual teacher trainings or virtual college student trainings, just click no. But if you did, click yes, and that lovely little column will appear and you can add your numbers in. All right, next up are resources and materials. If your county distributed any resources from Wisconsin Agriculture in the classroom, not including the book of the year and those resources, we count that. You already told us how many you ordered, so we know you do not have to include that. So click yes or no if you did maps, if you did any of the mini ag mags. Again, the number of students you sent them to. If you had any teachers, you type those numbers in. Again, if you have blank spaces, please add a 0, and that will allow us to get through this quicker. The number of schools receiving materials, again, think about the buildings, number of buildings that are receiving it. We're done with the student information. Now we're looking at the county committee information. So there's a couple of questions. Be sure to answer those as best as you can, particularly the volunteer hours. This is where some people get tripped up. Remember that planning, cleaning up, all of those count as volunteer hours. So for example, if you had a day on the farm event and you had 5 one-hour meetings attended by 5 volunteers, that's 25 hours that those volunteers put in before you even had the event. So make sure that you're thinking about, because a lot of the volunteer time comes in the planning and the preparation. And of course, any events or any classroom activities are all part of that. Or if you write a grant or you write your reports, those are all volunteer hours that can be listed under unpaid. If your county offers a stipend to volunteers or has a county coordinator, be sure to put those hours under paid hours. And lastly, if you have an annual committee budget and you are willing to share those numbers, that really helps us out. It can either be what was budgeted, because you might not know what you actually went through and spent, or if you do know what you spent in what we call the fiscal year, share that number, and that again helps us show match, etc. All right, if you worked with anybody else, any other organizations, FFA chapters, agribusinesses, commodity groups, please share those. We want to know who's working with us. So maybe you worked with your agribusiness committee. You can add that. If you have more than one, hit the green plus, and that will bring up another place to type in. Or if you have too many, hit the minus, and that will make it go away. Please share any promotions or public relations that you did to get the good word out. We want to know if you're what people are doing and what we should be watching or sharing or highlighting. And this is a great place to show where you can save progress. If you save, create a username and password, and it's going to ask you for your email as well as to create a password and confirm the password. If you don't want to do that, you can simply go to next. Mine's not going to work because I didn't fill in all of the blanks. And it's going to tell me that. So if you try to go to next, it's going to say, please review the form and correct. Find what is wrong, make the corrections, enter the columns, and you'll be able to move on. The last section of this is just some reflection and review. Please be honest and open in those last questions. They are about the highlights of your year, what was challenging, and what do you need for the upcoming year? Do you need trainings? Do you need more resources? Do you need more ideas? Do you need more collaboration? So we're looking for ways to really help all our counties out and elevate. So do that one next thing. Again, these are due November 15th. And if you have questions, please reach out to Beth Schaefer